A very good day to you. It is, of course, the chat trap with me, Jamie, right here on a Relax Radio. Hope you are having yourself an amazing day so far. It is 11:46 in the morning, and it is a beautiful day out here in London. And listen, what I do want to talk about, I have a lot to talk about today, actually. And this is the show that if you do want some inspiration, if you do want some hype, if you want some positive energy, all you got to do is make sure that you keep it tuned right here on Relax Radio because we are making sure that you have that energy, that you have that positive vibes to get through with your day. I am Jamie and I'll be with you here for 3 long hours. So make sure that you keep it tuned right here on Relax Radio. Now, with that being said, before we move on to the topic of discussion for today, I feel like something that I needed to talk about is procrastination. Now, procrastination is something I guess all of us go through at certain points in our life. And it is a problem that a lot of us face. Now, it could be a quick email to a colleague that you dislike. It could be, some menial, trivial paperwork that you're supposed to get done, some small task to in your spreadsheet or an invoice that needs to be filed. Whatever it is, even if it's a short phone call that you're supposed to be making, say to your friend or your mother or your boss, something like this, the tasks that I just told you only take a few minutes. Yet somehow, for some reason, we keep putting off tasks that we're supposed to be doing. Now, if it only takes a few minutes, you kind of end up asking yourself, then why on earth haven't I done it yet? Now, you waste time thinking about how annoying it is, and unsurprisingly, that does not make the task that you don't want to do go away. Instead, this task lingers, ballooning from this tiny little checklist item into an ongoing irritant, completely out of proportion with the resources needed to actually polish it off. So that's why I feel like procrastination, even though a lot of us say the word procrastination, none of us actually figure out what we can do in order to make sure that we don't procrastinate on our day to day life. So I thought before we get on into the gossip for today, I will share with you a few tips and tricks that you could do to ensure that you are as productive as you could possibly be and ensure that, you are not procrastinating tiny tasks that you're supposed to be doing. Now, first of all, before we get into these tips, I want to ask you a question. Why do you think tiny tasks that we're supposed to be doing but can't get ourselves to do, why do tiny tasks like this become such big monsters? I feel like at its core, procrastination involves the voluntary delay of an intended task. Now, despite expecting to be worse off for doing so, um, you'll get all kinds of people saying procrastination is good for this or good for that, but embedded within the definition is that no form of procrastination is ever good for you. Okay, so people who chronically procrastinate tend to have higher levels of stress, poor sleep patterns, worse job prospects, because obviously you are not as productive as you wish you could be. So, particularly when it comes to advancing into roles where autonomy, rather, and decision making are required. Now, on the mental health front, procrastination is also linked to depression and anxiety, and it can similarly undermine, say, relationships because when we procrastinate, we end up breaking commitments with other people and with other tasks that we're supposed to be doing. So it's easy to understand why we procrastinate on really big tasks that probably have deadlines, and it could probably be an exam or submitting a research paper or something like that. It's easy to understand why we procrastinate on these big tasks. They can be daunting or mentally draining and require a lot of time and energy and commitment. But on the other hand, small tasks can lead to a particularly pesky form of procrastination. Okay, because we don't procrastinate on them because they slip our mind. Rather, we make a conscious and intentional choice to put off something that might arouse doubt, insecurity, fear, or even feelings of incompetence, right? So I feel like now this monstrous thing that you were supposed to do, it was a molehill at one point, but now it has become a mountain just because you keep putting it off and off and off, and now it's become this huge monster, this task that you're supposed to be doing. So how exactly do we tackle these tiny tasks that we tend to procrastinate? So how do we motivate ourselves to tackle a task that we're dreading? So okay, basically just a sentence, okay? Motivation always follows action. So if you just do something right away without first stopping to think about why you don't want to do it, you may be better off in the long run. So next time when you feel like your whole body is screaming, I don't want to do it, I don't feel like doing it, ask yourself, what's the next action I need to take on this little task if I was going to do it? What happens then is that you're moving your attention off your emotions and to your actions. So basically, we have a negative reaction the moment we think of the task, and that has a tendency to feed on itself. So, this proactive mentality that I want you to have can help you bypass this unnecessary rumination. Okay. So, when you actually begin a task, it can be so much less stressful. It seems much more difficult and stressful than it actually is. Okay. So, another trick that I do want you to do when tackling smaller tasks is to nest them within larger ones. Try to find a place where the task fits in your normal routine. Okay. Now, for example, not only this will help avoiding any feelings of lost time over the task, but you'll use this external stimulus of the bigger tasks to mask any negative reactions that you might have to the smaller tasks that you don't want to be doing. Now, I do also want you to remember to practice self compassion. You might, for example, look at the task as an opportunity to learn a new skill. If you can short circuit this right at the beginning by reframing it, perhaps into something that might be more fun or enjoyable, it is very critical. Okay. Another trick when something is simply boring or dull is to switch the lens you put on when you're viewing the task. So, this is going to help you dial down that negative feelings by changing your emotional perspective from the outset. I feel like it does sound a bit silly when I say it like that, but at the end of the day, it is so powerful. So I do want you to remember, instead of beating yourselves up too much, especially given that there's so many stress factors or things that cause stress in in our day-to-day lives today. After all, although all procrastination is delay, not all delay is procrastination. Delay is a part of life. You can put off things, and it's not some sort of moral failure. It's part of your practical reasoning. If you do find yourself procrastinating, uh, a little bit of self-compassion might be the key to getting back on track. So forgive yourself. Make sure that you always forgive yourself if you can get yourself to do a task that you want to, but make sure that you try a little harder than yesterday to get be more productive, to get that task done that you don't really want to do. By doing that, I feel like at the end of the day, you are going to be as productive as possible. Stop beating yourself up. Get yourself a reality check. Pick yourself up and make sure that you don't, if you do have a task that you don't want to do, get it done with. Put in as much effort as you do have, get it done with. But if you can't do it today, that's okay. Try a little harder tomorrow. Now, that's my message for you. But with that being said, today we have a very interesting topic to discuss, because I want to talk to you about objectification in the entertainment industry, because there's a lot of talk that is going around in the entertainment industry in itself with regards to this topic. So I do want to talk to you about it. So make sure that you keep it tuned right here on Relax Radio.